Look at this, round off approach, lay out Sukahara with a full twist.
Head coach Greg Marston liked that. The highest score of the competition was posted by another Bella Caroli student, Rhonda Fain.
Definitely the class of the meet here. Look at the height and the distance on that vault and a perfect landing.
9.950. Now, Missy Marlowe approached her favorite apparatus, the uneven bars, aggressively and maintained the U.S. momentum.
Missy did a beautiful routine here. Look at the line on every handstand. Excellent stalder work there. She is so elegant on this event, which is so difficult for a gymnast to show on an event like the uneven bars.
Nice giant swing and a comb in each dismount in a tucked position.
Girls, nice job.
But perhaps the most consistent performer was Sabrina Marr.
Sabrina is really tough in competition, and she shows that here on balance beam. Gainer layout, little bend in the knee, really the only deduction in the routine thus far. Round off, tuck double back dismount, little short on the landing, but a great routine for Sabrina.
It was as if Sabrina Marr was making a statement. Marr was on crutches earlier in the year. She was unable to compete in the American Cup, but she's back.
You would have never known she had recently broken an ankle. She started with a layout double back. Great choreography. Middle tumbling run, whip back, through to a double twist, nice and clean. Every move is sharp and exact.
Bright spot for Sabrina came right here, her dismount and tuck double back. Watch how she nails this. Look at that face.
And somewhat surprisingly, Sabrina Marr is the top scorer for the U.S. team. Wrapping up the gold medal performance for the U.S., Christy Phillips.
She performed a very fast-paced routine, which included a full twisting double back at the beginning. She's not one of the strongest tumblers, but boy, can she pull it out when she needs to. Watch this last pass. Pike double back, just makes it.
So the United States women, with an impressive overall performance, won the gold with a record score. And the final standings look like this. The United States finished first by almost 10 points over Cuba. A 10-point lead in gymnastics is equivalent to a 100-point lead in basketball. Routines. Sabrina Marr of the United States is the leader. Christy Phillips is second. Kelly Garrison-Steeves is third, so it's all U.S. Now, here are the point totals for 4th, 5th, and 6th place, and you can see that 2 more United States women finished 4th and 5th. However, because of the rules, only 3 members of each team are allowed in the all-around competition, so those women were replaced, and the standings will look like this for today's championships. And right now, Kathy Johnson is with our leader, Sabrina Marr.
Sabrina, just 6 months ago, you were on crutches with a broken ankle. Now you find yourself in first place going in today's all-around competition. Must be a remarkable boost of confidence.
It is a great boost, this being only my second major meet, and I think it's going to help me in today's all-around competition.
What's it going to take for Sabrina Marr to win the all-around?
Just mainly aggressiveness and confidence, making sure that I hit everything perfectly.
Are there any critical points in the competition that when they're done, you can sigh kind of a breath of relief and know that you'll be all right?
You can't really breathe a sigh of relief until you're all done with the whole competition. And being last on bars, I think I'm going to be the very last competitor.
All right. Thanks a lot, Sabrina, and good luck. Back to you, Tim.
All right, Kathy, and she mentioned aggressiveness. I guess that's the key, Bart, especially going up against a Christy Phillips, who was just hundredths of a point off that lead.
Except for I've noticed the fact that Christy has looked, as I said earlier this week, Bella-less this week. Bella Caroli is not here, and Christy's used to having Bella here. He brings such an intensity and an excitement. He always brings the best out of his performers. So if Christy Phillips is going to do it today, she's going to have to do it without the help of Bella Caroli.
So we're all set. It's a United States finish. And when we come back, it'll be the all-around competition in the Women's Championship. Right now, let's go back to Brent Musburger at the CBS Broadcast Center. Fractions separate the leaders, Kathy.
All three of these girls performed extremely well in the team competition. However, both Sabrina and Christy have areas in which they can improve on today. Sabrina was a little rough at the end of her bar routine, so potentially she could score even higher today.
And Christy Phillips fell off on a very basic move, a full turn on beam, so we can expect to see her do better there as well. But if either Sabrina or Christy have trouble, Kelly Garrison-Steeves will be right there to move into first place.
And while we prepare for the finals in women's competition of the all-around championships,
We have to be aggressive to maintain or take the lead.
Bart, what about Christy Phillips, the national champion? She is just hundredths of a point off the lead, but she did struggle through optionals.
She did, but one of the important aspects of Christy Phillips as a gymnast is the fact that she has an unbelievable competitive drive. What she might lack in terms of technique, many times she makes up for in terms of style, pizzazz, showmanship, and that competitive experience. What we asked her after the team finals was how she feels coming into the all-around in second place.
Well, I think it is a little more added pressure because I really wanted to come into the competition and just do the very best I can do. I had a few breaks today, and hopefully when I get to finals I can cover up.
We talked about Christy Phillips and how she struggled, guys, through the optionals. She fell off the beam. When's the last time you saw Christy do that?
I think the last time I saw Christy fall off beam was back in November in a U.S.-China dual meet. She had problems here on a very simple element. This was a strange mistake for Christy, obviously a lack in concentration. She mounted with a signature move, a front walkover sideways on the beam. And now right here, a very basic element, a full turn. She completely lost concentration. And of course, that's a major deduction.
Of course, we talk about falling off and being very basic, and yet that beam is only 4 inches wide and is 4 feet off the ground. All right, unlike the men's competition where there are 6 events, women's gymnastics has only 4 separate apparatus. Competitors will be performing simultaneously, so as a point of reference, Sabrina Marr, the leader, will perform on the balance beam in the first rotation. Christy Phillips will be on the floor exercise, while Kelly Garrison-Steeves goes on the uneven bars. Kathy, how would you like starting on the balance beam? To me, it seems like the toughest apparatus to begin on.
Well, Tim, there's pros and cons of starting on balance beam. One, it's very difficult because you got a little bit of nervous energy and you're really trying to control it. So you've got to really focus in. The pro is that when you're done, you're glad you finished balance beam and you've gotten it underway, and you can just be really aggressive for the other events.
This is a very young United States team. The average age of this year's club is 6 members, 16 years of age, compared to the women's team that represented the United States at the 1963 Pan American Games, which averaged 20 years of age and was at that time considered young.
We saw Christy Phillips warming up here. We've noticed all week long she hasn't looked as sharp as you were used to seeing. She's just barely making her tumbling elements.
Christy Phillips, 4 feet 10, 80 pounds, 15 years old, and this is the first time, Bart, that you mentioned earlier, she's without Bella.
And I really think that Bella is such an important factor in Christy's gymnastics because Bella has an intensity about him that allows his girls to compete right at their maximum potential. Christy needs that kind of motivation. If she's going to do it here, she's going to have to do it without Bella.
You know, earlier we talked with Christy and we asked her about being here at the Pan American Games without her coach, Bella Caroli.
It's a little different competing without Bella, but you know, the training situation was more difficult than the competition because during the competition you just have to get out there and do what you do. Bella can't help you with your routines. He's just there to motivate you and to keep your mind straight. But during practices, it is a little difficult because he's not there to really push you and motivate you during the practice. And that was the hardest part, getting through the practices.
Well, Bella's not here, but her parents are.
That's Christy's parents sitting in the stands.
Her dad looks a little more tense than does Christy. Once again, as we start the all-around competition, we remind you that there are 4 separate apparatus, and the gymnasts perform simultaneously. So there is a lot of action here at the Hoosier Dome. We'll start on the uneven bars. This is Elsa Chavas. Chavas is the oldest of the Cuban women, 22 years of age. She is also the most experienced Cuban gymnast in international competition, having performed countless times in Moscow, Romania, Hungary.
I'm so impressed with the Cubans' physical strength on all the apparatus. They're not as well trained as, say, a Soviet or an American team. It's a nice Delchev. She's not real precise on the handstands. It's not a bad exercise. Double flyaway.
You can see here she does a kip to a cast handstand on the high bar, free hip, and now she does a nice giant swing well over the bar. She needs to hit the handstand a little bit better. Here's a double flyaway. Look how she cranks those legs out in a cowboy position to help the rotation.
Chavas started in 4th position today, 1983, so she is considered an old-timer by today's standards. This is Kelly Garrison Steeves of the United States, attends the University of Oklahoma, currently in 3rd place. Kelly can't go, though, until there is a green light. They're waiting for the scorer, Chivas. There are 6 judges in women's gymnastics. They throw out the high score and the low score and then average in the 4 remaining scores.
One thing that would cause a conference is if the middle scores are not in range. Then they have to call in the judges and try and get them to alter the scores.
How difficult these conferences must be on the next gymnast like Kelly Garrison Steeves here. Reminds me of the Olympics when you had a 9.6 on a strong beam routine. Everything stopped for 7 minutes while the judges conferred, and Julianne McNamara had to stand there for 7 minutes and think about it. That was on the beam.
It was very tough on Julianne. She stood up on the podium for quite a long time, particularly for balance beam. You've got a lot of things going through your head. But one thing you have to do is try and just remove yourself from the competition and focus on your routine.
And that conference also proved to be very advantageous because they changed your score from a 9.6 to a 9.75.
Very difficult on Julianne. She did have some problems right at the beginning of the routine that I've never seen Julianne have ever.
Let's talk about Kelly Garrison Steeves for just a moment while we do have this time. She is the oldest of the United States women. She's 20, student at the University of Oklahoma, and has just recently been married.
She married a gymnast from University of Oklahoma, Mark Steeves.
Mark, by the way, is an excellent gymnast. He competed on the Oklahoma team and did a fine job there in the all-around for the University of Oklahoma this past year.
Still waiting the score on Elsa Chavas of Cuba.
I think for many times the gymnast, it's important to take a few minutes and not watch the judges.
There is her score, 9.475. And obviously she's not happy with that.
Oftentimes at the beginning of competition, the scores are a little tight, so it's not that advantageous to go first up on an apparatus.
No. Kelly Garrison Steeves currently in 3rd place for the United States. The reigning NCAA all-around champion. She had a 9.7 Thursday night on the uneven bars in the optionals.
quite well so far. It's a giant swing with a full turn over the top. Here's her release move. Nice delta. Little miss there, but a good cover-up. Free hip to handstand. And a pike double flyaway. A new dismount for Kelly.
Kelly did have some problems earlier in the transition moves on the low bar, but she got back up into the pike double back from a giant swing that was done very well, nice and high. She landed with her legs a little straight and had to take a step. That'll be a 1/10 of a point deduction.
While we wait the score from Kelly Garrison Steeves, Sabrina Marr, the current leader, preparing for the balance beam. Sabrina finished 3rd in the all-around competition at the national finals.
Sabrina's very tough on this event. She has a lot of control.
Sabrina is a veteran competitor who has had her share of ups and downs. For instance, she showed tremendous promise in 1985, was the national champion, and finished very high at the World Championships. But since that time, she has been plagued by injuries, most noticeably a back injury and then an ankle injury.
Her back injury put her out for quite a while. It's something she has to basically deal with every day, but it's not given her any trouble lately. Most recently, she did break her ankle and has come back so strong from it. I asked her right before the competition if it ever gives her any trouble.
Sabrina had ancient-style Chinese treatment for her back problem. As a matter of fact, she was treated by the same doctor who treated Tiffany Chin, the figure skater. Kelly Garrison Steeves waiting for her score. It's a 9.70.
It's a good score for Kelly to start out this competition.
Yeah, pretty high score considering she had some troubles in the middle of the exercise, but she's got to be pleased with that one.
So that means Sabrina Marr now needs a 9.55 to stay ahead of Kelly Garrison Steeves.
Round off layout mount done absolutely perfectly.
She looks awfully confident.
She really does seem more assertive than I've ever seen her in competition.
This is a critical part. Back handspring layout step out. One step back out of it, but that's not really a major deduction.
And the fact that she stepped back out of it shows you that she's overdoing things, not underdoing things. That's how aggressive she's been in this competition.
Setting up her gainer layout. Excellent landing. This is better than in the team competition. Here comes her dismount. She needs to stick the landing to round off double back. And an excellent routine. That's when you're glad you have balance beam first and get it over with.
Sabrina Marr, the 1985 U.S. national champion.
Now this is her flip-flop layout step out. See how straight she is in line with the beam. And as Bart said earlier, little over rotation.
This is a very important part of her routine, sticking the landing here. Round off, tuck double back. She was a little short in the team competition, but she is so aggressive here. Look how she pulls that around, finds the floor, and nails the landing.
and so many injuries. The back problem, which kept her out of gymnastics for so long, and then the ankle.
And clowning around as if it doesn't even bother her.
Sabrina Marr is a straight A student and says she would like to pursue a career in sports medicine. And she seems qualified with her background.
She really got off to such a terrific start. As you mentioned, Kathy, there's such a tremendous relief once they finish balance beam. She should be home free from here, don't you think?
I believe so. And not only that, Bart, it puts a lot of pressure on the other girls that have to follow her on balance beam.
9.70, a very strong performance on the balance beam from Sabrina Marr. Well, let's check up a little bit later with baseball, but right now performance by Christy Phillips, the current national all-around champion on the floor exercise.
And this performance was even better than in the team competition. Watch this full twisting double back. Good landing. I am always amazed at how she pulls out those double backs.
She's had this kind of style and pizzazz since she was a little girl, hasn't she, Kathy?
I've known Christy since she was about 5 years old, and she used to love performing. There's a double tuck. Had to step forward out of that, but many gymnasts would have touched it out.
Also on our table, Vice President of the Technical Committee of the International Gymnastics Federation from Jefferson, Iowa.
You have to smile when you watch this routine. Looks like a lot of fun.
Although you have to admit, this wasn't an easy routine for Christy Phillips. She really honed in on making sure that she did this final pass perfectly, a pike double back.
Great landing. There's her mom and dad again watching.
Way better, way better, way better.
It's been said that Christy Phillips could become one of the best crowd gymnasts of all time.
This is where Christy shows her tremendous determination in competition. The full-in pike is not really that great. It certainly isn't very high. And look at, she just barely beats her head to the mat. She gets her floor down, her feet down, and you'd never know that she barely made it the way she sells that to the judges.
And again here, doing a tuck double back. Now you can see she had to step forward, but it's really not a deduction.
And her score, 9.725. It's a sport of microseconds and decimal points, and she is now, as I mentioned, just 1/12,000th of a point out of first place.
Here on her last tumbling run, she did a pike double back. This was the cleanest of the three moves because she pulled it around a little bit easier than I expected that she'd landed at the end of the exercise. A very difficult dismount. Well done.
So now we move on from the first rotation on to rotation number 2, and we see that Sabrina Marr will now go on to the floor exercise. Christy Phillips will be on the vault. Kelly Garrison-Steeves on the balance beam. And we should mention that Kelly Garrison-Steeves, very unusual for a gymnast in that she says the balance beam, one of the toughest apparatus to perform on, is her favorite event.
Well, if you've watched Kelly on balance beam, you can understand why it's her favorite. She's uncanny on this event. Her sense of balance and the movement on the balance beam is extraordinary.
This concludes our warm-up period. Our judges will now receive...
Kelly Garrison-Steeves has been dominating the collegiate side of this sport. She is not as clearly dominant in the national and world competitions. In the optional, she had a 9.65.
Kelly's been good on the beam since she was 12 years old when she was an alternate for the 1980 U.S. Olympic gymnastics team.
watch this mount and then into her first pass. It's a very difficult mount. Round off, tuck back on. Little problem, but she recovered. 2 back handsprings to another back tuck. Good landing.
Kathy, how does it affect the rest of your routine when you get off to a shaky start like that?
For a gymnast like Kelly, it really doesn't affect her. She just keeps right on moving and gets into the groove of things. This is a very original and unique move that Kelly made up. Already, in the first half of her balance beam routine, she does more difficulty than anyone else in the competition. And a beautiful turn to a balanced position. Here's probably the riskiest move, a cartwheel layout step out. Now that was a save.
One of the great things about Kelly's style on the beam, as she does her Garrison roll there, a shoulder roll without using her hands, is the fact that she rarely waters down. She's always doing a full-out routine.
Kelly's not afraid to take chances. Here's a new dismount. Round off, double tuck, and a perfect landing. There, but it should actually score still quite well. We'll take another look at the dismount. You can't land it any better than this. Good lift, good rotation, and look at that.
Sabrina Marr waiting to go into the floor exercise, our current leader in the all-around finals. While we wait for Kelly Garrison Steve's score, Sabrina Marr mentally preparing for the floor exercise.
This was a very good routine for her in the team competition, as well as a crowd favorite. She opens with a very difficult tumbling run, a double layout. Oh, perfect! That is such a difficult pass to do.
And how can you go wrong with music to Born in the USA?
Round off, whip over, through to a double twist. Very well executed. She's so clean in her movement. All positions are very effective. Here's her final tumbling run. Double tuck, and another perfect landing. I have never seen Sabrina this on before in a competition. That's her coach, Don Peters.
While she was performing, Kelly Garrison Steve got a 9.65 on the balance beam, which means Sabrina Marr now needs 9.5 to stay ahead of Garrison.
We were so impressed in the team competition how she handled her layout double back mount, a very difficult mount. You can see here today she nailed this thing even better than in the team finals. Look at the tremendous determination in that face. Round off back handspring, and right here Boom, layout double back in a stretch position. She pikes in just a little bit, but look at the landing. Chest up, and she knows she's got it.
9.875, and she remains solidly in first place. Sabrina Marr. Christy Phillips now needs a 9.5 to stay ahead of Kelly Garrison-Steeves in second place. Now, as she prepares for the vault, let us tell you that in women's gymnastics, they take 2 passes at the vault and take the best score. She had a 9.825 Thursday night on the vault in the optionals.
Christy has really improved in this event. Ever since they came out with the round-off approach vault, she's become much stronger.
What we've been waiting to see from Christy Phillips, that fighting instinct that she shows so well in competition. She has tremendous speed here into the board. Round off, good approach, excellent push from the horse, and look at the form in the air. And of course, talking about nail in a landing.
She also gets more distance than she usually gets on this vault. Good lift, and lands farther from the horse than usual.
And her score is 9.825, so that keeps Christy Phillips in second place. A 9.9 on this next vault. She could overtake Sabrina Marr.
It's really going to be tough to improve on that last vault. I think the first vault was better.
Nice job. Very well done. Okay? Nice job. Good.
We talked about her trying to improve on that first vault. What she was doing here obviously was trying to get more distance from the horse. She had good height, but she was trying to take it out farther away from the horse so the judges would notice that. Well, as a result, she over-rotated just a little bit and took a hop on the landing. Look at that face as she barrels down the runway. Really nice in the air. Everything looked pretty clean. She had a little too much juice, and of course over-rotation caused that hop, which will be a minor deduction.
She needs a 9.9 to overtake Sabrina Marr and move into first place. She has already solidified second place on her first vault. There's Greg Marsden, the head coach of the United States. He's also a very successful coach on the collegiate level. Marsden has had 6 national women's champion teams at Utah.
And there's his assistant coach, Donna Kozo, and of course Don Peters as well.
Christy Phillips gets a 9.775, so the first vault holds, and she remains solidly in second place.
Stop.
And the standings after 2 rotations look like this. Sabrina Marr holding on to a slim lead in first place, followed by Christy Phillips and Kelly Garrison-Steeves. Now let's go back to Brent Musburger and the CBS.
Stay strong. Push. Go, go, go. Woo! Yes!
I think he liked it. Now in the third rotation, Sabrina Marr moved on to the vault. Christy Phillips took the uneven bars, and Kelly Garrison-Steeves moved on to the floor exercise. And Sabrina Marr helped herself immensely with a very strong, aggressive vault performance.
This was an unbelievable vault for Sabrina. And this is what exciting gymnastics is all about. They're going to have to be near perfect to win this meet. Round off, layout took her out with a full twist, and look at the landing.
I think Sabrina really realizes that she's right on. She seems to have tremendous speed here, but she knows throughout the competition that she is right on her game plan. Everything is going right the way she can expect. Terrific work.
It's great to see her not get too cautious here. She just goes way back into it and goes for the landing.
Her score was a 9.875 on that strong vault performance, which meant that Christy Phillips needed a 9.95 to take the lead. Now here's the second vault. She tried to top that 9.875. And she told you, Kathy, prior to this event that she was going to be aggressive today, had to take risks. She's been true to her word.
She's doing exactly that. Good approach. Little hop on the landing. It's her coach again, Don Peters. Sure, he's pretty pleased with that vault.
You can see here, I think she was trying to get a little more distance, as was Christy Phillips in the second vault. Still, once again, she has beautiful position in the air. Minor hop on the landing, so it won't score as well as the first vault.
Sabrina, being aggressive, knew that she needed a very good score to keep that lead. Heading into this rotation, her lead was only 65 1/1000ths of a point over Christy Phillips.
Come on, Chris!
And yet she's cheering Christy on.
Come on, Christy!
Our sport is really unique in that you're not really out trying to beat someone. You have no control over what they do. You want to see your competitors do just as well, and you come out on top.
9.875 on her second vault, the same as the first, so she'll carry that on. Now, Christy Phillips knew what Sabrina Marr had on the vault, and she also knew that she needed a 9.95 to take the lead on the uneven bars.
Now, Christy, this is probably her weakest event.
And without a doubt, we've noticed all week long she's been laboring to the handstands on this event.
This giant swing to a reverse heck. Now watch this. Unique little move, a Jaeger between the bars.
You can see a little trouble on the cast a handstand and big arch in the giant and a little shorter rotation on the pike double back.
Nice, baby. Nice job.
Her mom and dad urging her on. Christy Phillips, though, knowing that it was not her best performance.
Okay, get ready for it.
Might not have been her best performance, but it's a steady performance for her on this event.
You can see she was a little shorter rotation here. Takes a hop on the landing and not the typical Christy Phillips stick the landing style.
Christy received a 9.725 on that uneven bars, and obviously not very happy. So as we continue and wait Kelly Garrison-Steeves' performance, we'll be back with more gymnastics competition right after this message. Dome waiting for Kelly Garrison-Steeves to perform on the floor exercise. Right now, Elsa Chivas of Cuba is on the mat. Kelly Garrison-Steeves currently in third place in the standings. she would need better than a 10, which is an impossibility to take the lead. So Kelly Garrison Steeves just trying to be consistent, be aggressive, and do the best as she possibly can on the floor exercise. These are the standings now in the third rotation. Keep in mind there are 4 events in women's gymnastics. Sabrina Marr still holds that lead over Christy Phillips, albeit very slight, and Kelly Garrison Steeves in third place.
Kelly is a very interesting story. At 12 years old, she was national champion on balance beam and floor exercise. And then shortly after that, she got out of gymnastics for a couple of years, competed in high school, was a cheerleader, and then came back. Decided she hadn't had enough, and she's better than ever.
Well, she's the reigning NCAA all-around champion. Attends the University of Oklahoma, a member of the class of 1990.
This is really a critical event for Kelly. She's doing a middle tumbling pass that is new for her, and it's very difficult.
Sabrina Marr, our leader, and being very strong about it. She's waiting to perform on the uneven bars, waiting for the third rotation to end. And Christy Phillips continues to stay loose. Christy Phillips will move on to the balance beam. But right now it's Kelly Garrison Steeves on the floor exercise.
Kelly has a very mature style on floor exercise. Shows a lot of elegance.
This is, by the way, her favorite event, the floor X.
She's going to open with a triple twist, trying to improve on the landing. Wasn't a bad landing. Legs were a little bit apart on the landing.
Kathy, in the optional, she went out of bounds there. Could that have been a concern?
Well, to go out of bounds is 1/10 of a point off.
Here's definitely the critical tumbling run. It's a 1.5 to a tuck double back.
All right, she made it.
She was out of bounds, however, on that one. I noticed that her foot touched the white line, and of course, as you mentioned, Kathy, that'll be a 1/10 of a point deduction.
She actually reminds me of a Soviet gymnast, Natalia Yurchenko. Very exotic in her dance. Final tumbling run, a double twist. It's not the most difficult dismount done here, but she did it well. That's her coach looking on, Becky Buick. Let's take a look at this first pass. She doesn't really have trouble with the twist. It's a good takeoff. 1, 2, 3. Legs are a little apart on the landing. Caused a slight stumble.
Now this was a really nice pass. She does the 1.5 twist right here, through to a round-off back handspring tuck double back. I know she's glad to have made it. She's not too worried about going out of bounds because she just pulls it around and her heel, her left heel touches out of bounds, and of course that's a 1/10 of a point deduction.
To the fourth and final rotation. We'll be back with Kelly Garrison's score right there, 9.575. And we'll be back with gymnastic fans here at the Hoosier Dome enjoying the finals of the women's competition in the all-around. And the standings as we head into the fourth and final rotation. Sabrina Marr leading by almost 2/10 of a point over Christy Phillips, who is in second place. Kelly Garrison Steeves of the United States is in third, so it's an all-United States field. Now, as we head into the final rotation, the final event, let us take a look at the apparatus each one of the women will be on. Sabrina Marr moves on to the uneven bars. Christy Phillips will be on the balance beam, and Kelly Garrison-Steeves will be on the vault. Now, a reminder that in the optionals Thursday night, Christy Phillips struggled on the balance beam and fell off for one of the very few times in her career. Let's go back and look at this, Kathy.
Such an unfortunate break for Christy, and something I never see her do. She starts off with one of her original moves, a front limber. Now watch this, a full turn, a requirement on the balance beam, fairly basic, and had serious problems.
This is Christy Phillips, the current national all-around champion, winner of the U.S. Championships, consecutive winner of the American Cup.
Now you know in the back of her mind she's got to be thinking about that full turn. She nails a front limber. Now here it is. And she does it perfectly. Here's a big pass for Christy. Round off, layout, step out.
That may do it. Sabrina Marr, by the way, will be up last in this rotation on the uneven bars.
The round off really looked rushed going into the layout step out. I think that's what the problem was. Like handspring chest roll. I did notice after the last event, uneven bars, here's that Phillips.
That to me looks anatomically impossible.
Well, it is for me. Her spirits did seem a little bit down after the uneven bars. That might have been the problem. Side somersault. And the dismount. Round off, double pike. Little over rotation. She's not very happy with that.
Nor is mom and dad watching.
It's really not typical of Christy to fall, particularly twice in a row in a competition.
A reminder that our coach Bella Caroli and Marta Caroli are not here for this competition.
Now let's take a look at this round off layout and see what the problem was. Seemed straight there. A little rush going back to the layout step out, which she was short on rotation. Whenever you're short on rotation, that second leg coming around comes down too quickly and cuts to the side.
Emotionally drained, waiting for her score, Christy Phillips.
She's a tough competitor. I'm sure she can come back from this. It's hard right now.
Major competition that she will be preparing for is the Rotterdam World Championships this fall. Very important to the international acceptance and success of Christy Phillips. You have to wonder how much Bella not being here has affected her performance.
Well, it's hard to say, but as she said in her interview, Bella is a very strong influence. He's a great motivator.
Her score, 9.350. With more gymnastics competition after this message.
It's touch and go, but you're thinking about those Mars roasted almonds. You're looking for that little reward. Yeah, you're hanging on 'cause you're dreaming about that Mars buttery caramel. You've got your mind on a Mars.
A Mars bar makes it all worthwhile.
You've earned your Mars bar, one great little reward.
If you just ask for a light beer,
Give me a light.
you never know what you'll get.
Bud Light.
the less filling light beer with the first name and taste. Ask for Bud Light, because everything else is just a light.
Breakfast without collards, cornflakes would not be breakfast.
Christy Phillips has just fallen off the apparatus one more time, and her score has dropped her possibly into third place. Right now, Bart Connor is with Christy Phillips.
Christy, you're the kind of gymnast that America likes to see do well. It wasn't there today, was it?
No, I just got a little down on myself after my floor routine and after my vault, and I just let it get the best of me.
We know that Bella Caroli's not here. Do you think that was a disadvantage to you in this competition?
Well, Greg was a national team coach here. I did miss Bella being here. He didn't, you know, he wasn't here to motivate me, but Greg did a good job, and he did as much as he could. It was my fault.
Well, hang in there. You're going to be great.
Okay. Thanks.
Sabrina Marr yet to come in the fourth and final rotation. She needs a 9.15 to win the gold. Right now, let's go back to Brent Musburger in the CBS Live at the Hoosier Dome for the finals of women's gymnastics in the all-around competition. And what a story that has developed here. Christy Phillips has fallen off the balance beam in the fourth and final rotation. And Sabrina Marr, up next on the uneven bars, needs a 9.15 to win the gold medal. Kelly Garrison-Steeves, another U.S. performer, is waiting to perform on the vault, and she needs a 9.85 to move ahead of Christy Phillips and into second place. But the story right now is Sabrina Marr going after the gold.
It's Christy Phillips
Christy Phillips looking on his right. And she has been emotional. It's not very often that she has come up short in a major competition.
You couldn't have written a better script for this competition. They both ended up on what's considered to be their best events. Sabrina on the uneven bars, Christy on the balance beam.
Sabrina Marr is of Chinese origin. Her name means horse in Mandarin. And she has been a horse today. Her career has been plagued by injuries. She's had severe back problems. She had a badly injured ankle, but she has come back strongly.
This is the strongest physically I've ever seen Sabrina look.
Those injuries kept her out of this year's American Cup. So this performance in the Pan American Games means a great deal to Sabrina Marr.
Straddle over mount. Look at the beautiful handstands. Reverse hecht way up there. Flyaway half right over the low bar. Moving very well. Again, she's as aggressive as always. And a double tuck flyaway. Little step on the landing, but a great performance. And the crowd loves it.
While we wait for Sabrina Marr's score to determine the gold, let's go over to Kelly Garrison-Steeves. She needs a 9.85 to move into second place ahead of Christy Phillips.
That's going to be tough. Not impossible, but tough. Round off Tsukuhara with a full twist and a great landing. She went for it. It's not as difficult as the layout Tsukuharas we've been seeing with full twist, but it was done so well.
Sabrina Marr, 9.750. She wins the gold medal. The only thing still up in the air now, the silver and the bronze. As we wait for the score of Kelly Garrison-Steeves. Now keep in mind, the women are allowed 2 passes on this apparatus, and they take the best score of the 2.
Regardless of the score, Kelly has to be happy with that vault. It is new for her, and she did it so well.
9.775. Not enough. She has one more chance at the silver medal as Christy Phillips looks on.
It's hard for Kelly to improve on that vault, but you never know with this vault. Sometimes you come on just right, you can really blast it up there.
There have only been 2 10s handed out since the 1984 Olympics. Rhonda Fain and Christy Phillips both on this event.
Oh, she tried a layup vault. She has my respect for going for that vault. She was a little short on the pre-flight. You could see her hands on the inside of the horse.
Again, she needs a 9.85 to move into second place.
Don't think she's going to do that. Now watch from this angle. You can't really see that she almost misses the horse, but she does go for the layout vault, a more difficult vault, in hopes of getting a higher score. Being one of the oldest members on the team, she's got to be happy with this performance. She's coming on stronger than ever.
We mentioned that Kelly Garrison Steeves has been dominant on the college side of this sport. Not clearly as much on the national and world side. 9.575 her score. So she finishes with the bronze. Christy Phillips remains in second place with the silver. And Sabrina Marr, the gold medal winner. Let's go back, Kathy, and take a look at the gold medal performance by Sabrina Marr.
This was a tremendous routine for Sabrina. Nice stalder work. Really high on that reverse hex. Now a second release move. It's called a ginger or a flyaway half. She's got to know here that she's got it. And a tough double flyaway.
She only needed a 9.15, which is not a very high score. She could have remained very basic, and yet, Kathy, she stayed aggressive and took some risks.
I think this competition was important for Sabrina.
So the final standings then, Sabrina Marr in first takes the gold, Christy Phillips takes the silver, Kelly Garrison takes the bronze. Right now, let's go to Bart Connor with the winner.
Sabrina, you started the year on crutches. Could you have expected by August you'd be the Pan American Games all-around champion?
I had no idea. I was just hoping to place in championships at that time, and being this only my second major meet, I was very pleased.
You know, this year and this competition was your event. I mean, right from the word go, you were in control. Why do you think it happened this way this time?
I think from all the faults and valleys I had last year, I think I owe it to myself to win this one just for me.
Well, congratulations. We're happy for you.
Thanks.
Back to you, Tim.
Sabrina Marr, 17 years old, from Monterey Park, California, wins the gold in the all-around individual women's competition. So it's Sabrina Marr, followed by Christy Phillips and Kelly Garrison Steeves, an all-U.S. final. Right now, let's go back to Brent Musburger in the CBS broadcast.
Oh, I didn't